All right, hey guys. Um, Today is the 19th of April, 2022. Talking loud because I'm a couple feet away from the phone. I want to make sure it comes in clear. Also, it's windy as hell out here today. Um, Probably going to be going home this weekend. Temperature is supposed to drop down into the 20s up here for a low. No. I'm equipped to do it. I just don't want to do it. I live 42 miles away from here. I'm going home for the weekend. I'll leave camp set up here, but yeah, I'll be going home for the weekend. Also, had communication from Chuck. He's probably going to be here this afternoon. His road trip got canceled. All right, so um, on the previous video where I was talking about how I got my name and what it meant, the Hayata, and that it referred to somebody who was out looking, and I kept saying if they referred, or if it's the name that they gave me, that it would be what did I keep saying on there? Researcher and scout. It not researcher. It was searcher, or I think I said investigator. Investigator and scout. It's searcher and scout, or scout. So I just wanted to make that correction in there. I was proofing the video and I was like, what are you doing? And being AS technology, Arizona Squatch technology, it's AST. It doesn't work. I don't know how to edit. I'm not even going to begin to try and learn how to edit. What you get is what you get. And if I make a mistake, I'll come back and add it into a video such as this one. I'm going to touch briefly on, I don't know if I'll be able to do briefly or not. Out with it. We'll just go into it. Bigfoot and the Nephilim, or Sasquatch and the Nephilim, or the forest people and the Nephilim. No connection. I'll say it again. There is no connection. When I first got into this field of study, excuse me, I absolutely believed that they were Nephilim, or descendant of the Nephilim. You can just call them Nephilim because the descendant of the Nephilim is the Nephilim. Hello. I'll give you a few things about this as far as things that I have witnessed, things that I have learned, things that we have learned. But I'm just going to give you my perspective on it because of my experiences and my studies and my investigating various different things outside of the forest people. I do study other stuff. So, the first things that caused me to question whether they were Nephilim or not is the amount of love that is involved in this. They have deep, intense love for each other and their families. They are very, very, very spiritual by nature. They have shared that unbelievable love. I mean, I've just been immersed in love, and multiple times. And so I started thinking to myself, you know, God is love. Love, true love. You know, not man's definition of love, but that true love can only come from the Creator, only come from the Father. It's the only place that can come from. I know people have said to me, you know, they could be deceiving you. You know, they're tricksters and jokesters. Yeah, I get it. That's just not the case here. So understanding where love comes from and who's allowed to possess love and why love is even here to begin with. You know, when you get down to the root of that study of love, the Nephilim don't possess that kind of love. They may possess the kind of love that if you go to a psychiatrist's office, that they'll give you a definition of what love is, and scientifically love is just a chemical reaction, and it's much deeper than that. It is so deeply rooted in spirituality and in God the Father and in the Creator. That's where love comes from. If you don't know what that kind of love is, seek and ye shall find. But that was wind. But so that's why I started drifting away from them. You know, my belief that they were Nephilim. You know, I'm gonna break away a little bit here. If you're gonna be intellectually honest with yourself and allow your thoughts and your experiences to coincide, to collide with each other, you know, that's why I coined the phrase, do not let your paradigm dictate your experiences, let your experiences dictate your paradigm. And that whole phrase came from I had to let go of what I thought I knew and go with what I'm learning. And it's not just out here in the forest. I am constantly studying. You have to be able to understand that everything that we were taught was taught by man, by another man, by somebody who read a book, by somebody who did this. That's where our basis of education comes from, is it comes from somebody else. That mine is coming from the forest people. Mine is coming from studies of not just in the Bible, but you know, ancient prophetic texts, i.e., Book of Enoch, Book of Jasher, various different ancient writings. When all these things start to intersect, you have to understand that if you don't let go of what you think you know and embrace what you learn, especially when it is so many different fields that are all meshing together divinely. some of the other things that has really taken me away from there is the transformation of Chuck. I'll let him tell you that story when he feels necessary. But I'll tell you one thing. Nephilim would not have drawn him in the direction he went, or that he's going. Same thing with Rob. Same thing with Wayne. Same thing with myself. My spirituality is so much deeper. And when I say my spirituality, I'm talking about in God the Father and in Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus, our Savior. I try not to get too preachy on here because I know some people are just like, they don't care, and oh well, so be it. I do care. In some of the studies that I've done, a big portion of some of the studies that I've done, I'm just going to go to the Bible. Jesus identified, hold on a second. Jesus identified who the Nephilim were when he was being drilled by the Pharisees, and he kept telling and telling, "Oh, you brood of vipers, you brood of vipers," and then he says, "You whose fathers have been condemned from the beginning." Powerful statement. Kind of half in, half out of the sun. There we go. I'll try and stay in the sun as long as I can, then I'll move into the shade. But that's a very powerful statement, because we know that through the scriptures, extra biblical text, that the only ones who were condemned from the beginning are the fallen angels. The fallen angels mated with the women of earth. Hence, that's who the Nephilim are, is the children of, or the offspring of those fallen angels who were condemned from the beginning, as Jesus identified with the Pharisees. "Oh, you brood of vipers, whose fathers have been condemned from the beginning." A lot of people, I don't know too many people that have been able to catch up onto that one. There. Yes, Jesus identified the Pharisees as the fallen angels, or the offspring of the fallen angels, the Nephilim. You go farther back in the readings, and when the Hebrews were wandering around the desert for 40 years, before they were allowed to go into the promised land, there were some tribes that they had to annihilate. And a lot of people say, what kind of loving God would have somebody go in and kill women and children and all living creatures? Well, you have to understand what the fallen angels did and who the Nephilim were And you go all the way back, that was the purpose for the flood. Noah was pure in all his generations. Does that mean that he never sinned? No, that means his DNA was not corrupted. Everybody else's was. So his DNA line was still pure. That's why he was chosen to survive the flood, him and his family. There's debates on how the Nephilim returned after the flood. There's two of them that I'm interested in, but I'm not going into there. We're going to fast forward. The Nephilim were back on the earth. The Hebrews were told that they had to go annihilate this tribe and that tribe and do not let anybody live. And, well, they disobeyed and they let somebody live. The DNA of the fallen still riding along. And then one of the tribes of Israel bred with them, and that tribe is their descendants are the line that runs the Pharisees. Once again, Jesus identified who the Nephilim were through the Pharisees. So, in today's world, the Nephilim are right in front of us. They're running our countries. They're the uberly rich. They're the cabal, if you would say. All connected. So the forest people the mother's side of the DNA is pure. The father's side of the DNA, they don't know what it is. Or do they? And they're not telling us. They are not Nephilim by any means. They are designed to be here. They have a purpose to be here, to watch. They have rules that they cannot disobey. Who gave them those rules? Just something to think about. I'm not going to apologize if that sounded a little preachy, but for those who believe that they are the Nephilim, they need to hear this side of the story. Because I can promise you, there's not a pastor, a priest, a bishop, anywhere that is telling you this. Jesus identified who the Nephilim are, the Pharisees. 2,000 years later, they have their roots and their ties in every single government around the planet. The uber rich. You know, you don't get uber rich without being part of the club. You know, when you're so rich that money doesn't mean anything to you. Oh my goodness, people. I would like to do a real long video on this subject, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Do you want to hear more, or have you heard enough? leave your comments below and I will get back to them. So, on that note, all right, to each and every one of you, as always, I love you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If the day comes that I reach 1,000 subscribers, which I could care less if I had only one, but at 1,000, they'll let me do live videos. So I could go live from out here on the edge of the Mogollon Rim where I have service. And I don't know, it might be easier that way than trying to upload these videos. Curious to see how this one's going to turn out. But love y'all, man. Love each and every one of you. Be safe. Look out for each other. Be kind to each other. Peace out.